I'll be buried in my grave before I become a slave, yeah. That is what I heard them say way back in the day. I'll be buried in my grave before I become a slave, yeah, yeah. But it seems like since that day, yeah, we have sorely changed. I'll be buried in my grave before I become a slave, yeah, yeah. That is what I heard them say way back in the day. I'll be buried in my grave before I become a slave, yeah, yeah. But it seems like since that day, yeah, we have sorely changed. Whoa. Hey, hey. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa, oh, 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 oh.
And now, live from beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, you're watching My Fellow Americans with your host, Spike
Yes! Yes! Yes, it's me! It's me! Keep clapping. Thank you for joining. Clap for the ponies and the cheesy bread. How would we know that you wanted ponies and cheesy bread if you didn't keep clapping? Welcome to My Fellow Americans. I am literally Spike Cohen. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in to this special end-of-year episode of My Fellow Americans with me, Spike Cohen. There is still a couple of weeks left to the end of the year, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be having another show by the end of the year. So this might be the final My Fellow Americans of 2019 and of the decade. This might be the last My Fellow Americans of the decade. This is, of course, a Muddy Waters Media production. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Anchor, Twitter, Periscope, iTunes, Google Play, Float. Check us out definitely on Float. Check us out everywhere. This is an amazing program. Be sure to share it. Be sure to like us, follow us, 5-star us, hit the bell if applicable, and share this right now. Last thing I want is for you and your loved ones to miss a roughly hour-long Libertarian Agitprop program on a Wednesday evening. So be sure to give the gift of Spike Cohen today. Kids love it. This episode, as always, is brought to you by the Libertarian Dad Bod Calendar. New special holiday pricing. You can get this calendar, which features me right there, Spike Cohen, and Spike Cohen, Spike Cohen, Spike Cohen, and Spike Cohen, as well as 11 other sexy libertarian men for only $12, including shipping. And the money from that, the proceeds go to help lots of libertarian candidates across the country. $12, including shipping. And you can hang this photo, this sexy libertarian man and many other libertarian men from your fridge or wherever you hang sexy libertarian men from in your home. This program is also brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, which is the fastest growing food service industry related caucus in the Libertarian Party. And now this program is brought to you by the Supreme Spike 2020 campaign. That's right. Your boy here is the vice presidential running mate to your next president, Mr. Vermin Supreme. pictured there with his trademark boot. So be sure to support us. Find out how you can help us at verminsupreme2020.com. And not only that, but I'm going to be telling you shortly how you can help the campaign, not only to support the campaign, but also to help homeless people in the local Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area. So more on that in a little bit. So, of course, the intro and outro music to this and every episode of My Fellow Americans is brought to you by the amazing and talented Mr. Joe Davi. That's Jodavi. Check him out on Facebook, SoundCloud. Go to jodavimusic.bandcamp.com. Buy his entire discography. It's like $20. You'll absolutely love it. Thank you again to Mr. Joe Davi. I'd like to thank Kroger for this delicious purified drinking water that I drink on this and most episodes of My Fellow Americans. Bulavanaka. L'chaim. Hanukkah coming up, guys. Shout out to Tehran Turks' mom and him as always. Guys, tonight's a pretty big deal. I have a big guest for you. He's running for vice president with the Libertarian Party frontrunner right now. The frontrunner. In pretty much all, there are no scientific polls, as far as I know, of the Libertarian Party for their presidential pick, but he's winning all the online straw polls, and in my mind, that makes him the front runner. Of course, I'm speaking about Vermin Supreme, and tonight, in his very first interview since being announced as the vice presidential running mate to Vermin Supreme, he's coming on to my show. He is just a stunningly beautiful man. He is a husband, a loving husband to a beautiful woman who is his wife. He is a former business owner, actually current business owner, business co-owner. He owns a libertarian media conglomerate, and he has two weekly libertarian programs that he uses to promote the message of liberty and self-ownership and non-aggression around the world. Twice a week, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow Americans, please give it up for my guest tonight, vice presidential candidate, your next vice president, me, Spike Cohen. Hey guys, how you doing? So I was going to, initially, I had an idea where I was going to interview myself for like an hour, and I realized I really did not want to do that, and I didn't have a compelling reason to do that. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is talk about what got me into this campaign and why I'm supporting Vermin Supreme, why I think you should too, and then I guess also why you should support me. So anyway, be sure to comment with your thoughts and questions, and as always, I will let you know if you are right or wrong. And in fact, if you want to say in the comments, I might actually open up the phone lines. I'm considering opening up the phone lines. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I may open the phone lines to get some calls in to see what you guys think of everything that's happening. But so anyway, so I'm going to actually, let me just go ahead and do that. Let me open up the old phone lines so that people can call in. So if you want to call in, actually, I'm going to hold off on that right now, and I'll do the call in shortly. Before I get started, actually, let me, I had given you a little bit of a teaser about helping the homeless and Vermin Supreme. So Vermin Supreme, in addition to being your next president, is also a very big homeless advocate. He is a very big supporter of people that are having a tough time finding a permanent home, and has a big heart for them. And so do I. I was actually raised that way, to be very, to have a big heart for the homeless and to try to help with the homeless. And to that end, your next president and vice president have quite an opportunity for you. So Vermin has donated these 10 soft filament toothbrushes, which he has signed. If you can see that, he signed each one of these. And originally the idea was just going to be that we were going to, split these up and hand them out to homeless people as part of a care package, which we still do plan on doing. But then I came up with the idea that, well, how about we raise some money for the campaign and for a homeless mission in this area to help even more, not just giving the toothbrush, but also helping the homeless even more. And so the way that you can help with that, and I'll talk about this, I'll bring it up a couple times during the show, is I came up with the idea of doing a 50-50 split donation. So what we have is with these toothbrushes, if you donate $10, and I'm going to give you the link, you're going to be donating it to my PayPal, and then I will split the proceeds between the Pony Up for Vermin Supreme campaign, which is Vermin Supreme and my official campaign for the White House. And the other half will go to Dignity Ministry, which is a local mission for homeless people that helps with the homeless. If you give $10, I will sign put your name, courtesy of your name, first name, last name, whatever you want, there, and donate that in your name, and then the proceeds from the $5 of it will go to Vermin's campaign, to our campaign, and then the other half will go to Dignity Ministry. If you donate $20 or more, I will also sign this next to Vermin and mail it to you, so you will have an official Supreme Spike 2020 toothbrush. So that's something you'll have, and the proceeds minus the cost of shipping will go half to Vermin's campaign, or I guess our campaign. I need to start saying that, half to our campaign, and the other half will go to, of course, Dignity Ministry. So the PayPal is paypal.me/Spike Cohen. Now, if you want to donate more, you can actually go anytime to verminsupreme2020.com and press the donate button. They also have a button to donate with crypto, so that you will be able to donate as much as you want of all that that crypto coin you've been hodling. So hodl no longer. Your Bitcoin Cash, your Dogecoin, your, I assume, Ethereum and Litecoin. I'm honestly not sure all that. I would assume Ethereum and Litecoin, but I don't know, like, if you've got, I don't know, Weed Coin or something, if they'll take that. I really don't know. But you can find out. And if not, you can give us a couple bucks. So yeah, paypal.me/Spike Cohen. And if you're just tuning in, $10 gets you one of these toothbrushes given away to a homeless person as part of a care package. We will write courtesy of your name, whatever your name is, who's donated on there. And if you give 20 or more, we will actually send this to you, and I will sign it as well, so you'll have the toothbrush for you. And the half will go to the Supreme campaign. The other half will go to Dignity Ministry, a local charity that helps with the homeless in the area. So I will probably bring that up later. But yeah, so we've got some. So what I'm going to do now is I guess go ahead. I'll open the phone lines. So if you want to call in, you have any calls, 813-644-2722. In the meantime, let me go through the chat here. So we got a question from Bass. As Vice President, will you fight to end immigration that continues to change demographics that affect legislation which attempt to take away our freedoms? So telling you who you can or cannot host, hire, or house on your private property is an inherent violation of your rights. It is also a violation of your rights to tell someone else, it's also a violation of your rights to tell you that you can't travel to any private property where you're welcome. So no, we would not be limiting yours or anyone else's right to travel where they're welcome. Nor do we buy into the idea that there are specific demographics that are unwelcome or uncaring about freedom. If that were the case, apparently our first group to keep out would be white people who brought us the Republicans and Democrats. So no, we would not be doing that. But we will definitely be opening up your ability to host, hire, and house whomever you wish on your property, and to go wherever you wish on your property. So yeah, so just to give you a little bit of a background about what got me doing this campaign. I've been talking back and forth with the Supreme campaign for a couple weeks now, And the reasons that they thought it would be a good idea to bring me on as their vice presidential candidate were because they felt like I balanced out the ticket, and that Vermin is more of a left anarchist, and I'm more of a right anarchist, which allows me to balance out the whole bottom unity concept. So for those who don't know what bottom unity is, if you've ever looked at those political compass, and I'm gonna do this backwards because you're looking from here, but you've got your top left, which are like your state communists and state socialists. You got your top right, which are like your fascists and Nazis and stuff like that. I guess closer to the bottom and center are like the Republican and Democratic parties. Then down at the bottom left and bottom right, you've got your libertarians, your libertarian socialists, your left anarchists, your ANCOMs, your ANCAPs on the right side, and so forth. So instead of having unity between left and right, which really makes no sense, because if you're a right libertarian, why would you unify with someone who thinks that the best way to achieve the kind of economic conditions you want is to trample all over yours and everyone else's rights? Same thing on the left side. If you want this more to be able to live in a more egalitarian, sharing society, why would you want to align yourself with someone who wants to force everyone into some kind of centrally controlled collective that doesn't help anyone? And so the idea behind bottom unity is that we may not agree on what a post-state or much smaller state society would look like, but we can agree, or whether we may not agree on whether there should be a very small government or no government at all. But what we can agree on is that we're all headed in the wrong direction right now, and that the best thing we could possibly do is open that up and have a more be aligned with each other as libertarians. And so that's the idea behind bottom unity. And in the spirit of that, your next president, Vermin Supreme, has decided to bring me on as his vice president, so that we can share with the libertarian delegates, and then hopefully once we get nominated with the American voters, our message of bottom unity. And so that's what brought me on, and also the fact that I have a fairly popular 2 programs that I do twice a week, to get more people in to talk about libertarianism on a wider scale. The fact that I'm in the South, which gives me a little bit more reach in the Southern state conventions and things like that. So that was sort of the idea behind having me on. I am attractive. I'm handsome, but not in like an off-putting, uncomfortable way. I'm just handsome enough. What else? I have no risk of outshining him on stage. There's no risk that I'm going to overplay his shtick while he's on stage. So that's a good thing. I have a winning smile, which is important because we are pushing for mandatory toothbrushing laws, of course. And how can you push for mandatory toothbrushing laws if you yourself have terrible teeth? So that was important. So that's why they brought me on. They wanted someone who was a passionate speaker for our rights and for our liberties, and who was comfortable doing it, and who had some good connections on the, I guess, right side of the spectrum, and of the libertarian spectrum. And so here I am, your next vice president. Again, if you missed it before, we have a little promotion that we're doing to help the homeless in the Myrtle Beach area. We are giving away these toothbrushes to the homeless. If you would like to, and we got many more than these, it's not just these 10, but we've got a lot of toothbrushes. We're going to be giving them away. If you want to donate $10, let me put that link up again. There's the PayPal. I put up that link again. If you want to donate $10, we will put your name, courtesy of your name, just first name or your full name or whatever, put that on there. And when we give it away to the homeless person, so that they can see that, Bill or Jill or whoever donated to it. And from that $10, $5 will go to the Pony Up for Vermin Supreme campaign. And that's our presidential and vice presidential campaign. And the other $5 will go to Dignity Ministry, which is a local charity in the area that helps with, it's a local mission that helps with the homeless in the Myrtle Beach area. If you give $20 or more, I will sign this, and we will give the toothbrush to you. And half will go to to our campaign, and the other half will go to Dignity Ministry. So yeah, PayPal.me/Spike Cohen. So I had my big announcement on Saturday. I had the in Nashville. I got to speak in front of the Tennessee Libertarian Party and Nashville Libertarian Party and give my big speech, being welcomed in and accepting it. And during that speech, I unveiled, and if you haven't watched it yet, I have it here for you. I unveiled a bold plan that I have. I'm an anarchist, like Vermin. I'm an anarchist. I do recognize, though, that in the spirit of the Dallas Accords, which is an agreement in the Libertarian Party, for the party itself not to ever explicitly call for keeping the government or eliminating the government. It's sort of an alliance between maybe the original bottom unity between minarchists and anarchists. And in the spirit of that, and also in the reality that as vice president, I won't simply be able to snap my fingers and make government go away. I have created what I believe is a pretty good compromise, because we do know that compromising with sociopaths who want to enslave the world is the best way to achieve positive change in our time. And so I've come up with I think a pretty good compromise, which I call the verbal agreement for an even better America. This is a verbal contract that I'm making with you, the American people, that if we get elected to president and vice president, these 10 things will happen, or else I will resign and be replaced with Baby Yoda. So there are 10 things here that will happen. So every 10 days on average, one of these things will happen. In addition to Vermin's 4-point plank, which is the free ponies, the mandatory toothbrushing, harnessing zombie power for perpetual clean energy, and going back in time to kill baby Hitler, I'm also adding these 10 things to the plank. So number 1 will be eliminating all federal taxes, tariffs, and fees, and replacing them with a lottery where the winner gets to sign the Constitution and or the face of any politician of their choice. So they can actually do both, or they can just sign the politician's face or just the Constitution. So that'd be pretty cool for them. Number 2, also going back in time to kill baby Woodrow Wilson, which ultimately makes killing baby Hitler unnecessary, but we're still going to do that too. There has been a question as to whether if we killed baby Woodrow Wilson, does that create some kind of cascade effect where someone even worse than Hitler comes to power? Rest assured, if that happens, we will kill them as a baby as well. Number 3, and this is for anyone who's been following this show or the Muddy Waters of Freedom or just any Muddy Waters media program, including Mr. America, the Bearded Truth. Anyone who knows us, the Muddy Waters crew, knows that this is a central part of our platform, which I'm now grafting into the Supreme Spike 2020 platform. That is, of course, the full legalization of recreational plutonium. This is serious. We are going to have recreational plutonium in our time, and it's going to be a much bigger deal because once we are getting all of our energy from zombies on giant hamster wheels chasing a brain that they can never get to, what are you going to do with all this plutonium? Well, that's where the recreation comes in, my friend. So that's going to be a big deal. Number 4, free cheesy bread with the purchase of any federal explosives permit. This is a big deal. And I was asked earlier, what kind of cheese? It's whatever cheese you want. So you like mozzarella? You like a gorgonzola? You like maybe you're a hard, like a aged cheddar. You like it sharp. You want a sharp cheese. Maybe you like Havarti. Havarti's nice. Maybe you like American because there's something wrong with you. I don't really care. I mean, technically that's not a cheese, but I mean, it's your bread. You can put what you want on it. Thank you. So that's that's what we're going to be giving you. So free cheesy bread. What is this? Free cheesy bread. Number 5, developing bullets that, instead of harming you, do helpful things like relieving headaches, clearing up nasal congestion, thereby finally bending the cost curve on healthcare once and for all. Now, friends, if you're like me, you've seen the rising cost in healthcare and health insurance, and you keep hearing of people getting shot. Now, how would you like to hear about a bunch of people that just, had their headache go away? Maybe it cured them of cancer. Maybe it cleared up a rash they have. Maybe they have some kind of, I have MS. Maybe there's an autoimmunity bullet. So we're going to work on that. It's going to be a Manhattan Project for healing bullets. Number 6. This is possibly my favorite, and I think you'll see why shortly. Number 6 requires police officers to sing the Barney theme song to anyone they arrest, along with their Miranda rights, of course. And the suspect will have to be released without charge if the arresting officer fails to sing every single word to that song in key, or in any other way does not convey themselves as a convincing Barney. Now, people have said to me, well, that means they're going to have to wear an outfit, right? Well, yeah. And they're going to have to do the voice. If at some point they break character and can't keep the key, the perp's going to be able to say, hey, look, I'm not feeling Barney vibes, officer. And they'll go, oh, well, I guess I got to let you go then. And that's how that's going to work. I was asked if I'm going to sing the Barney song. I am not. Number 7 is retrofitting your ponies with 20 millimeter Vulcan cannons. That's a big one. You don't have, now, someone said, what if I don't want my pony to have a Vulcan cannon? And that was a valid point. And the short answer is, you don't have to have guns on your pony if you don't want. This is a negative right, not a positive right. So, and also someone said, what about a 40 millimeter grenade launcher instead? We'll see what happens. I don't want to promise something unrealistic to you, but we'll see what happens. I would be in favor of it, but ultimately all of these things are going to have to go through Congress. So take it up with the obstructionist Congress. Number 8, Waffle Houses on every corner. And this, of course, is a blatant act of graft and cronyism to the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus for purely political purposes. I, as the all-star special of the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, or ASS of the Waffle House Caucus, pushed hard for this to myself, and I told myself, okay, so that's why that's happening. And then 9. Number 9 is impeaching every member of the Supreme Court and replacing them with a janitor. His name is Reginald, and he will be our king. Someone asked about term limits for Congress, and I think, better than that, how about have the janitor decide everything as king? And you're probably thinking, what do you need a king for if we have a president and vice president? But the thing is, we're going to be time traveling a lot. And, we're not going to be here all the time. And, we're going to be out killing lots of babies that eventually become tyrants. So that, we go back in time and make right what once went wrong. We're not going to have time to, be here doing a bunch of stuff. That's what you need King Reginald for. Now, I know some people have said, well, but if you're time traveling, you can just come back to a split second after you left. To which I say, you're overthinking this a bit. And of course, number 10 is a badger. Literally just a badger. It's just a badger. It's just a badger. So that is the platform basically. I think it's a common sense platform. I think, you have to face hard realities, right? We have to face, some very, very hard realities about what can and can't get accomplished by the president and vice president. It's just one branch of the 3 branches. Now, once King Reginald controls that 3rd branch, that will definitely make things easier because Reginald likes us. We're friends with Reginald. We go back with Reggie. Us and Reggie go way back. But you still got that Congress. You saw what they did now. You know, they're impeaching the current guy. Maybe they'll try to impeach us. So you gotta tread carefully with Congress, with the obstructionist, do nothing Democrat Congress. You got to be careful with those guys. So, you know, I feel like what we have here, which is ultimately 14 platforms. We've got some other stuff like, oh, you know, we're going to take away your guns and give you better guns. That's a popular one with the NRA crowd. Actually, it's not popular with the NRA crowd because the NRA wants you to buy guns from their rent-seeking gun manufacturing lobby, but the people that the Black Panthers and the GOA really like it, because again, if you're gonna have something retrofit onto your pony, you don't want it to be the affordable stuff that you have now. You want it to be something serious, military surplus. And when we abolish the military, there's going to be a lot of surplus. You know, these Abrams tank cannons aren't going to fire themselves. You know what I mean? 120 millimeter smoothbore. They don't just, you know what they say, guns don't shoot themselves. People shoot them on their ponies. So we're going to help facilitate that. Common sense stuff, common sense legislation going on. And of course, the badger. It's just a badger. People ask about the badger. It's just a badger. So let me go through the comments here, see if anyone has any questions. Jacob LaBelle said, I heard he's a jerk. I don't know if that's me, but that's correct. Jason Lyon, man, this stream looks extra vice presidential. Thank you, Jason. You used to have a great show too, I heard. Jason also said, what about power bottom unity? How does that work? I actually have a diagram that has been censored every time I've tried to bring it up. So I can't show that to you. But it's kind of... I get the best word to describe it is perpendicular. Perpendicular? I'll inbox it to you later. That's what this was. Okay, so my co-host on Muddy Waters of Freedom, Matt Wright, has asked me to inform you that the Democratic-run Do-Nothing Congress has done something. They have voted to impeach Donald Trump. They voted 228 to 185 with all Republicans voting no. Actually, that's not true. 14 Republicans did not vote. All but two. So there were 2 Democrats voted no. 1 voted present, and 3 didn't vote. So, yeah. So now Donald Trump has been impeached, making him the 3rd president to be impeached. And if you want to make that a solid, rounded 4, an even 4, you vote for Vermin Supreme and Spike Cohen, because we will definitely be impeached. We will absolutely be impeached. In fact, if you don't like me, best thing you can do is get me and Vermin Supreme elected to the White House so that we can be impeached. We're a nation of laws. I did not make the rules. If you want me impeached, I have to get elected. I didn't make the rules. Now, I don't know what you're going to impeach me over. What? Loving people so much that I killed baby Hitler with my bare hands? I'm sure the Holocaust-liking lobby will support you in that, but I don't know if anyone else will. The difficulty will be if I kill baby Hitler, no one will actually know who Hitler was in our time, and so when I come back and I'm like, I stopped the Holocaust, and all these people are going to be like, what the hell's the Holocaust? So that could be a problem. We're going to have to work on that. I think we may have to take some video evidence and say this is what we avoided. This is what we prevented from happening. And just, hope that you guys trust us. You just got to trust us. We're with the government. You can trust us. Let's see what else we got here for comments. King says hi. Kingsley Edwards. Hey, Kingsley. And let's see what else we got here. So, Shane Battles. Hey, Shane. Asks, Pepper Jack. I assume that means the cheese. Yes. Pepper Jack, Colby Jack, just Jack. Any of the cheeses. Go to your local, Kroger, Walmart, whatever. Go down the aisle and look at all the cheeses. Any of those. Really any combination, too. Maybe you maybe you're one of these 5 cheese guys. I don't know why 5 became the magic number, but for a while it was 3 cheeses. Remember? 3 cheeses. What kind of pizza is that? 3 cheese. All 3 of them. And then someone was like, you think that's something? I added 2 more cheeses. No one knows what they are. No one knows what the 5 cheeses are. It's actually different every time. We could just have random cheese. Like, house choice. You get the federal explosives permit, and then you get the cheese. You get the cheesy bread, and you're like, well, what kind of cheese is this? You go, that's a surprise, friend. You could choose that. You could really choose whatever you want. You could really choose whatever you want. The only thing I'm not prepared to promise you is the 40 millimeter grenade launcher on your pony, because that's, you got to pick your battles here. And Jason says, can we get Framunda cheese? Shane says, I'm with Jason. Free Framunda for the Gen Pop. You Google that, because I feel like that's a joke. Yeah. That's what I thought. If that's what you want on your bread, Shane and Jason, I will not judge you. I certainly will not judge you if that's what you choose. Mariel Santiago Lugo says, sometime, no. I'm not repeating that. We don't repeat vulgarities on this show. Shane Battle says, if we get the ponies and we have to kill Baby Woodrow and Baby Hitler as well, can we call the team Rambo Riders? That's a good working title. We actually haven't gotten that far. We have some fan art depicting us going back in time, baby blood all over our faces. But we didn't actually have a name yet. Jason answered that question, which I found out. Thank you. I have access to Urban Dictionary. Thank you. Doug Crawl says, the Badger sold me. Listen, if this doesn't melt your heart, like the cheese that's going to be on your bread, then I don't know what to tell you. Do you have a soul? Maybe. That's up to you and your faith system, I guess. But I certainly wouldn't want to find out. So guys, again, if you're just tuning in real quick, I keep bringing this up occasionally, trying to help the homeless here. Vermin Supreme has signed these toothbrushes and many more. We have a ton of these toothbrushes. We're going to be giving them away. If you want to be a part of that, if you donate $10, we will, let me put up the link. If you donate to me $10, I will sign, put your name, courtesy of, with your name on it, here, and when we give it away to the homeless, and as part of a care package. And it will, from that $10 donation, 5 of it will go to the Pony Up for Vermin Supreme campaign, which is our presidential and vice presidential campaign. The other 5 will go towards a local charity called Dignity Ministry, which helps the homeless in the local Myrtle Beach area. And Myrtle Beach area has a lot of homeless people, like most areas now. Unfortunately, it's a growing problem, and they need help like everyone else. And so it will go to that. If you give $20 or more, then we will actually mail one of these to you with Vermin's signature and with my signature, VP Spike Cohen, over on the side here, and we'll mail that to you. And for that $20 or more donation, half of that will go to, or I guess half of that minus the shipping cost, will go to the Vermin campaign, and the other half will go to Dignity Ministry. So again, paypal.me/Spike Cohen. And just be sure to, if you donate 20 or more, be sure to give me your mailing address so I can mail you your toothbrush. So yeah. So that is what's been going on with the campaign. So the schedule right now, we have a bit of a lull right now because we have the holidays. But then starting in January, I'm going to start hitting the conventions in the local area. I plan to be in Georgia on the 18th. I expect/hope to be in Atlanta for the Libertarian Party of Georgia convention on January 18th. On January 11th is the Libertarian Party of Tennessee convention in Nashville, where I just was. I'm hoping to be at that. That's on the 11th. Let's see. There's Kentucky. There's Alabama. Those are both in March. The New Hampshire primaries are going to be in February, I believe the 11th. So I'm hoping to be up there for that. So I'm gonna have a very busy schedule the next few months heading into the Libertarian Party National Convention in Austin, which is on the May 21st through 25th of next year, of next decade. A decade from now, I'm going to be hitting the old convention trail. So if you're at any of these conventions, then I'll see you there. If you're in the Southeast and New Hampshire, and probably other ones. I have a feeling I'm going to get sent to a lot of these different state conventions. Justam Zhekov said, can I call in with an actual question? Yeah, sure. 813-644-2722. Be sure to call in. Let me just make sure it's up. Yeah, it's up. And so in the meantime, let me start going through. I got a bunch of follower questions I had put out asking if anyone had any questions for me in the run-up to this show. And boy, did I get a lot of questions. Let's see here. So the first question was, will you resign your position as the all-star special of the Waffle House Caucus in order to avoid potential conflict of interest? No, I will not. Here's what I did do, though. We have chosen to, because the caucus has made some endorsements. We endorsed Tyler Smith for his state house run in South Carolina. We endorsed Risa Willis for her state house run, and did we endorse that? We've endorsed Ryan Teeter's design for a tartan, a Scottish tartan, as the official Libertarian Waffle House tartan. We endorsed the Dad Bod calendar as the official calendar of the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus. I feel like we made some other endorsements. I feel like we may have made some other endorsements, but I don't remember now. But we have decided, as tempting as it was, to wield the extreme raw power that I have as the head, the All-Star Special, the ASS of the Waffle House Caucus. I chose against that and decided in the spirit of magnanimity and good faith that rather than having the caucus go from the awesome place it is where we talk about waffles and donkeys and all sorts of fun stuff, have it devolve into, to avoid having it devolve into some kind of constant partisan bickering between people, supporters of the different libertarian presidential candidates, we have chosen instead to stay neutral and to just allow you to support who you want to support, with the idea that we are a hard no on Lincoln Chafee or any of the warmed over Republicans and Democrats that some people think would be a good idea to lose again with. Because you're not just losing the general election, you're also losing the battle for the hearts and minds of people who are increasingly disenfranchised and dispirited and just disgusted and done with the both Republican parties. And rather than giving them a bold alternative that is not just warmed over Republicanism or warmed over Democratism, let's give them something real and bold and radical and audacious and all of the other adjectives that we like. And so that's in the spirit of that, that's what we are That's what we're doing. We're staying neutral, but don't try to bring in a Chafee, because we're the anti-Chafee caucus as well. And so yeah. I'm also the founder of the Baby Libertarian Caucus, which is a caucus where we try to share libertarianism with Lincoln Chafee and watch as he becomes horrified at what libertarianism is once he reads past the preamble or whatever he read. So that's the answer to that. Someone asked, how do you plan to address the fact that Vermin is a leftist and you are a capitalist? That's actually that's a feature, not a bug. As I'd said before, this is about got a call. Let's see who this is. 612 area code. Thanks for calling.
But don't try to bring in a Chafee, because we're the anti-Chafee caucus.
Here,
as well.
Can you turn down your...
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, who's this?
Did I call the wrong... This is Jacob.
Hey!
Did I call the wrong number again?
I don't know. Who are you looking for?
Spike.
Spike Cohen?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I've got great news for you. You're looking for the local Jew?
The local Jew.
I have some excellent news for you, friend. You are speaking, in fact, with the local Jew. How are you doing?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing amazingly. I am full of vim and vigor, just living the dream. What's going on?
That's awesome. No, so, I don't like to just rattle around this libertarian idea in my brain. So I listen to certain leftist things during the day.
Okay.
What's the Amy something Liberty Now? Are you familiar with it?
I've heard of her. I don't know if I've ever actually caught her program, but I know who you're talking about.
Just because my friend has a morning show on a station that carries that program.
Okay.
I've been listening to it, and something has come into my mind that is interesting, because I see it as a plan from, you can call them leftists or you can call them Democrats, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. I feel like the Pelosi party has a really interesting strategy to actually not only impeach Trump once, but several times, and add those impeachments up into a lack of confidence. It's like, kind of like what happened with Nixon, but it's going to take a little bit more time.
Okay.
Because there's probably at least 8 more charges that the Democrats can indict Trump on. One of them being something as plastic as just racism, but also one that is actually very interesting, which is self-interest.
Okay.
And there is actually some evidence where a certain amount of government could actually impeach and prosecute and plausibly even find him guilty of a high crime or misdemeanor.
Right.
And so what I'm thinking is, I've been blown away by this whole thing. Like, they're going to indict him on saying, like, hey, can you investigate this guy?
Right.
Which there's really no proof. There's no real quantitative proof that is a high crime or misdemeanor. But it's, from what I'm hearing on the left, when I actually listen to leftist programs, it's sounding like what they're trying to actually do is just toxify the guy.
Right.
And of course, he's toxic. He's toxic. In as much as they are, they're horribly toxic. I don't know. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're saying, do I think that the strategy is less about actually trying to get something to stick to him and more about just trying to make the idea of him even being president so toxic that people won't vote for him?
Right, and then eventually they'll just make Republican senators that much more toxic, and maybe they'll start impeaching them,
right,
as well,
or even just because they are being associated with this toxic thing, they won't get reelected because, you know, the idea that they're building this case that, you know, anyone tied to Trump is bad and is toxic.
Exactly.
Right. So first of all, the official Supreme Spike 2020 position on impeachment that I'm making up right now is that everyone should be impeached in all three branches. Except for us, except for me and Vermin, because you can totally trust us. But that will actually make things much easier once we are in control to do all of the things we need to do, both here and in various timelines. Specific to your question, though, I think the thing is that, you know, you may have something there that they're trying to, you know, this is about politics. And, you know, let's be clear that because a lot of times people will say, they'll start saying, you know, well, in a trial, you get to meet your accusers, and they keep comparing it to a criminal trial. And it's not really that way. This is not a legal or criminal action. This is a decidedly political action. One branch of government voting to either remove or not remove the head of another branch of government is a decidedly politically charged action. So, you know, the idea behind, as I understand it, of what they're charging with it is essentially that he illegally, in their mind, threatened to withhold funds that had already been allocated for something for the Ukrainian government, with the idea that, well, you know, we'll let it go and give it to you if you look into this other thing, and also that he obstructed Congress obstructed Congress in their investigation. Ultimately, because there isn't an actual smoking gun, there's just a preponderance of evidence. There's a lot of plausible, and because of the fact that most Americans, most voters, get their views in a highly partisan skewed way, Republican voters don't care. It could be a lot worse than what they're charging him with, and they don't care, because they've been told that Donald Trump is amazing and to just go along with it. In the same way that Democrats are told, you know, this is the worst thing ever, we absolutely need to get rid of him. And if it were Republicans who had been trying to impeach Obama, it would be the other way around. Fox News would be saying, he's the worst president ever, we absolutely have to get rid of him. And the MSNBCs and CNNs and whatever would be saying, you know, Obama's the greatest president, and this do-nothing obstructionist Congress is just trying to, you know, railroad him or whatever. So because of that, there's not a lot of incentive for Democrats and Republicans not to vote party line, which is why on the Muddied Waters of Freedom, Matt and I have been saying since this all started, since before it started, that it was kind of a foregone conclusion that he was going to eventually get impeached in the House, which just happened, a few minutes ago, and that he was not going to get he was going to be voted to be acquitted in the Senate because the Republicans control the Senate, and because it requires it requires a 2/3 vote to acquit or to prosecute in the Senate. That wasn't going to happen. So you already know what's going to happen. Speaking to your question about if this is a strategy to make him toxic, maybe, and I don't know if it's going to work. The thing with Donald Trump is that everyone already found him either toxic or they loved him. By November of 2016, everyone already had an opinion of Trump, with the exception of a very, very tiny margin of people that, in my mind, isn't enough to make a difference one way or the other. Which is why Jason and I have said that if you do not nominate, Matt and I have said, or actually I've said this, Matt hasn't said this, I've said this, if you do not nominate me and Vermin Supreme to be president and vice president, Donald Trump will be reelected. Because there's no one that the Democrats are offering after they finish bludgeoning themselves that they're going to be able to unify sufficiently behind to beat Donald Trump in the Electoral College. So unless a recession happens between now and the election, or Vermin and I are nominated to be vice president and president in this as in addition to other timelines, then I see him getting reelected. So did that answer your question? Or did you leave?
Yeah, man.
Oh.
For the most part, yeah, totally. It totally answered my question for the most part. My only other question is for history is why did we not impeach George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and Obama?
Oh, so that's an excellent question, and thank you for that. Perfect example, Jacob, of what we're talking about. So we're talking about political actions versus legal actions. These are politically skewed decisions. There would be a lot of support for impeaching Donald Trump for prosecuting wars illegally without congressional oversight or approval, for his administration doing warrantless surveillance and warrantless spying on American citizens, all sorts of things. The problem with that is that you would have to do what Vermin and I say to do, which is impeach him, have already impeached Obama, Bush, Clinton, Bush, probably back to Reagan, and for some of this stuff even further back than that. You'd have to impeach a lot further back than that, and you'd have to impeach the people in Congress for doing it. So instead, in my mind, this is similar to you've got a bunch of people out murdering people in the streets, but they're deciding whether someone jaywalked or not in the process. And so it's like, okay, well, yeah, he committed murder, but we're all committing murder. But I think he jaywalked, and he's on the other team, so we're going to stop him from jaywalking. And that's really, in my mind, what's happening here. So no, you're absolutely right. But thanks for calling in.
Thanks for having me on, Spike.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. Call in whenever. So that's my answer to that. Let me see what's in the comments here. Tom Arnold says, are you fully prepared to be the first Jewish president if Vermin were to get stuck on one of his time trips? What would a purely Spike administration looks like? We talked about this actually, Tom, at Waffle House 2 days ago. I will be a heartbeat away. And in fact, when he is away on his time travel, I will technically be president. Now, again, he can come right back. And I may be joining him at times, which is when, King Reginald, the janitor of the Supreme Court, will be in charge of the country. But when I am here and Vermin is not here, I will be president. And if he did get stuck, I would be president moving forward. Now, again, once he got unstuck, he could just come back to a second before he left. But let's not overthink this. He could go away, and then I'd be president. And I think that's the meat of your question. What would a purely Spike administration look like? And a follow-up question was, would there be regular salsa dances in the White House? That actually answers your first question. My administration would look like a lot of salsa dancing. It would look like the free pony program being absolutely streamrolled and accelerated to total pony parity. Pony parity being, of course, when there are as many ponies as people. Also within the first 100 days of my administration. That's my promise to you. And anyone who tells you that that's completely unrealistic hates you, hates America, and hates the future of this country for you and your children. So I hope that answered that question. Chris Reynolds says, everyone votes party line. Clinton absolutely committed perjury and obstructed justice. The Senate didn't convict him. Exactly. Trump always has that 40 to 42% regardless of what happens. That's exactly correct. And he really only needs as little as 45% in the right areas to win. I don't think he could get much less than that and still win. But yeah, I mean, he really only needs, outside of his most rabid supporters, which are roughly 40 to 41, 42, maybe 43% of the vote. He only needs 2 or 3 more percent, maybe 4 or 5 more percent to win. And that's not a tough road to hoe for him, especially if in this time Democrats are, bludgeoning their frontrunner, who remains their frontrunner. Remember, Joe Biden was going to be done by now? He was going to be absolutely finished. We weren't going to have no more Joe Biden. We were going to get behind Bernie Sanders. No, I mean Elizabeth Warren. No, I mean Kamala Harris. No, I mean Cory Booker. No, I mean Pete Buttigieg. Guess what? Joe Biden's still in the front running. And here's the other thing. Most primary voters, aren't really paying attention yet. They're going to show up on election day. We saw this with Donald Trump. They asked people why they voted for him, and a lot of people said they voted for him in the primary because he was the only one they'd ever heard of, which means they had not really closely been following things. You have enough of those people who are going to show up and go, oh, Joe Biden, yeah, he was Barack Obama's vice president. I'm going to go with him. I remember him for 8 years. He seemed okay. I think he's going to get it. And after years of the voters you absolutely need in the general to do all the it's one thing to say you'll vote for someone. It's another thing to actually go door to door and hand out pamphlets and make phone calls and donate and volunteer and, give blood, sweat, and tears to this campaign. That's not going to happen. Joe Biden is Hillary Clinton with a penis and a long history of really, really troubling statements that even back then were kind of cringy and now are just seen as unacceptable. And a bunch of Democrats who have been running against him, calling him everything from a segregationist to a rapist to everything else, and now a closet Republican, and now they gotta line up and go, oh no, actually he's the best one for the job. I don't see that happening. I see again, if this is not one of the timelines where you pick me and Vermin Supreme as the Libertarian nominee, and I'm speaking directly to the delegates right now, in all 50 states. It's a lesser of two evils option here. That's not fair because Vermin Supreme is not evil in any capacity. So it's really an evil versus good option. You can have Vermin Supreme and me in the White House, abolishing Congress, impeaching all of the Supreme Court, replacing it with the janitor, giving you ponies, giving you cheesy bread, killing Hitler, killing Woodrow Wilson. I'll even kill Stalin. I'll kill baby Stalin. Maybe even baby Lenin. I don't know. Again, depends on what we can get through the legislature. Or you can have 4 more years of Donald Trump. The choice seems clear to me, but I can't make that choice for you. Not in this timeline. Let's see what else we got here. So, Liz Bell gave me a link, which doing a live show, but I'll go look at this. What is this? Yeah, no, we just talked about that, Liz, about the thing, but thank you for letting me know. But the House of Representatives has voted to impeach Donald Trump. Let's see what we got over here. Yeah. And then Chris Reynolds said, well said, Spike. Thank you. Chris Reynolds, personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law. Where is your... Do I not have you here? I don't have my Chris Reynolds. Where's my Chris Reynolds? Oh, it's in the other room. I don't have my Chris Reynolds and I feel naked now. I now know what it's like when Adam and Eve with the thing with the apple, and then God said, you're naked. And they realized in that moment they were naked and they felt ashamed. That's how I feel now. So let's see what other questions we have here. So the question was asked, how do you plan to address the fact that Vermin is a leftist and you are a capitalist? That's actually the intention. In order to win the Libertarian Party nomination and have any hope of reaching out to the rest of voters, and our main core of voters are going to be across the spectrum of voters that are completely disenfranchised. And it actually, our policies dovetail well with each other because we are both anarchists and both libertarians. The fact that we may have minor differences of opinion as to what a post-state society will look like is largely irrelevant because we don't live in a post-state society. It's like arguing over, it's like serving a life sentence and arguing about what kind of car you're going to get when you get out. You're not getting out. You got to get out first, and then you can figure out what kind of car you get, what kind of shoes you get, or whatever. So the whole thing with Vermin is that, and between the left libertarians and right libertarians, we all agree that where we're headed is wrong. And if we all agree on that, then let's work towards a point where we can actually work out our subtle disagreements as to what a post-state society would look like, or even a society with a smaller state. Let's get to that, and then we can work on that then. Also, it feeds into bridging the divide that's in the party right now. The big divide used to be between anarchists and minarchists, and that's still there, but the biggest divide right now is between the left and the right. And we're not going to agree on everything. We're not going to agree on our preferences, but that's ultimately what you're agreeing on, what you're disagreeing on. Once you remove coercion, you're just arguing preference. And if you're still arguing for coercion, then you need to check whether you're a libertarian or not. So that's what I would say to that. And we're going to see. People were concerned about how friendly the Supreme campaign was going to be to capitalists and right libertarians. Well, I am a capitalist and a right libertarian, so that answers that. And I'm an outspoken one too, so that answers that. Question: what kind of headwear will you be wearing? So, interesting question. The short answer is that I don't really plan on wearing headwear, but I need to do something with my hair situation, because there's a situation here with my hair. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look good. Got an issue with my edges, starting to have a little thing back here I don't want to talk about. Got to really figure out what we're going to do with that. An easy thing to do is to wear a little kippa, a yarmulke. I could do that. It seems kind of disingenuous for me to start doing that right after announcing that I'm running for vice president. It just seems a little bit pandery. It's just a little. Like, oh, you waited till you were balding in the back and running for vice president, and now suddenly, you're wearing a kippah. I'm like, no, it's a total coincidence. I'm so Jewish. So we're going to figure that out. But as of right now, no headwear. There was some confusion with some of my followers who thought that you actually have to wear a boot if you're a Vermin supporter. As far as I understand, only the president wears the boot. Only President Vermin wears the actual boot. The only law that we actually have is that you have to brush your teeth. And God help you if you don't. We only have one law, but it is strongly enforced. So get right to that. And floss, too. You only get one set of teeth. Well, I mean, when you're an adult. So, get good with that. Can you explain the badger? It's literally just a badger. It's just a badger. I mean, can I explain a badger? Sure. The badgers are short-legged omnivores in the family Mustelidae, which also includes otters, polecats, weasels, and ferrets, and Mephitidae, which includes skunks. They are a polyphyletic group. And they are not a natural taxonomic grouping. Not a natural taxonomic grouping, the badger. It's just a badger. The policy is, excuse me, a badger. It's literally just a badger. There's, I know people keep, hey, but what about that? No, it's a badger. It's just a badger. By the way, speaking of badgers, here's every few minutes I bring this up. If you're looking to help the homeless and the Vermin Supreme campaign, I have a great offer for you. We have a ton of these toothbrushes, single packaging toothbrushes that we're going to be giving away to the homeless with Vermin Supreme's signature on it. If you want to be a part of helping with this and with the Vermin Supreme campaign, the Supreme Spike 2020 campaign, all you have to do is you can donate $10 to paypal.me/Spike Cohen, and we will put your name here. We'll put courtesy of whatever your name is, or whatever you want us to write there. Maybe you want us to write a little message. It's not a big space, but we can write something there from you. And that will be given away to the homeless in the Myrtle Beach area as part of a care package. And then, so that's if you do $10, and $5 of that will go to the Pony Up for Vermin Supreme campaign, which is our presidential and vice presidential campaign. And then the other $5 will go towards Dignity Mission, which is Dignity Ministry, which is a local charity that helps with the homeless in the greater Myrtle Beach area. And if you give $20 or more to paypal.me/Spike Cohen, we'll actually mail one of these to you, and I'll sign it right here, VP Spike Cohen, so you'll have that for posterity. You'll be able to say, I helped the president and vice president get into the White House. That's why we have all these ponies with guns on them. Because of me. See, I have proof of it with this here toothbrush. And so we will mail that to you. So you'll actually have this toothbrush, and of that $20 or more, after the cost of shipping it to you, the half will go to our campaign, and the other half will go to Dignity Ministry. Again, helping the homeless in the local Myrtle Beach area. So, I mean, you want to talk about birds with one stone? You're two great causes with one donation. So, paypal.me/Spike Cohen. Let's see some more questions we have here. Tom Arnold asks, will you be participating in any VP debates? Sure. Yeah. I don't know of any. My understanding is that there's one in Minnesota, or they're trying to organize one in Minnesota on March 28th. I'm not sure that I'll be able to be at that because I plan to be in Alabama on the 27th for their convention. And I'm not sure how feasible that is, but ultimately, yeah. I mean, I'd love it. I'd love to do that. All the other declared candidates, like John. I love John, by the way. John Phillips Jr. I really love. I joked that our debate may be just a series of us arguing over which one agrees with the other more. No, I'd absolutely love to participate in VP debates. I'm available to give speeches. I think a lot of where I'd be best suited is in Q&A with audience members, either with audience members or just talking directly, face to face with people. I think that's really the best way to get the message out and to talk to people, is to press the old flesh, make some fleshy connections there in the conference center. Conference center flesh connections, and answering whatever questions you guys have for me. I think that'll be best. But yeah, any debates is great. Tom says, shave your head. Well, nature's doing that for me slowly, friend. So, planning to hold on to this as much as I can. I do pledge I'm not going to wait as long as Giuliani did, where he had that freaking ridiculous comb over that came away from here to near. I'm not, no. That I won't do. I say that now. I hope I'll have the dignity at that time to just get hair plugs. I hope. Chris Reynolds says, flossing is a step too far, sir. Well, listen. If you want to have healthy teeth, you have to follow the legal process. I don't make these rules. Now, as vice president, I will help make these rules. That will actually be a rule that I do make. So, Chris Reynolds says, what's the difference between a badger and a beaver? There's a damn big difference, huh? I don't know. Well, a beaver has the flat tail that it uses to pat down the dirt on the old logs there when it's making its little beaver dam. Badgers, I believe, do not have that. Beavers also have I don't really know the big differences, but it's just a badger. It's just a badger. See what other questions we've got here. Just Sam Jekov said a bunch of things that I'm not sure what those mean. Nano state life, motorcycle riding. The Badger explains itself, which is true. That's correct. The Badger doesn't need me to explain it. I'll be there. Come home, baby. Good point. Excellent point there. Let's see what else. So here are some more follower questions. Here's one. It is very possible that Vermin could get 5 or even 15% of the vote if he were the Libertarian Party nominee for president, but then will be known as the party that ran the guy with the boot on his head forever. What are we supposed to do then? That is an excellent question, and it's probably, in my mind, one of the biggest and most legitimate oppositions I've heard about Vermin is, even if you buy into the idea that we can run this, campaign where we say, hey, look, you're so disgusted with the system, let's vote for, a guy with a boot on his head who wants to give you free ponies and his sidekick who wants to give you cheesy bread, and is suddenly wearing a yarmulke for some reason. Okay, great, we did that, and we got the 5% we want. For those who don't know, 5% gives us automatic national ballot access and other things that make it a lot easier in the future for libertarians to run at every level. But then what? Okay, so let's say we got 5%. Let's say we got 15%. Now, of course, we know that we're going to get elected to the White House. Literally to the White House, in a landslide election. But let's say we don't. Let's say we get 5, 10, 15%. And let's say now we didn't win. We did great. We did better, way better than anyone else ever did. But now what? Well, here's the thing, guys. All politics is theater. And all good theater has a good narrative and a good storyline. Here is the storyline behind the Vermin Supreme campaign. The Supreme Spike campaign. Let me show you that one again. The Supreme Spike 2020 campaign. Let me not exclude myself from this, because this is our campaign now. And this is literally happening. And is a real thing. When that happens, here is the narrative behind the Supreme Spike 2020 campaign. All politicians lie to you. And we all know it. We joke about it. We grouse about it. We get upset about it. We're about to hang out with a bunch of relatives, either in Hanukkah or Christmas or Kwanzaa or New Year's or whatever else. And if politics comes up, inevitably everyone's going to be screaming at each other. And the only thing that all of us can agree on is that politicians lie. They literally get up during campaign season and make you ridiculous promises that you already know aren't going to happen. Donald Trump said he was going to eliminate the national debt, not just the deficit, but the national debt in 8 years. And of course, since he's come in, he's actually increased the national debt by 20 or 30%. He's increased it by $4 trillion. And when you talk to people and say, that's a lie, people go, yeah, it's a lie, but I like the lie. So here's the thing. Politicians lie to you. They openly lie to you. You know they're lying to you. You know your side's politicians are lying to you. You know their side's politicians are lying to you. And I say your side and their side, but the reality is the majority of eligible voters do not vote because they know that the politicians are just lying. And that it's a waste of time to vote for them because they're just going to do whatever they want. And the punchline to those jokes that they tell, to those lies, if we're going to call it a joke, the punchline to those is what they actually do to you once they get into office. The same thing they all do. They give you endless war. They give you endless theft through taxes and regulations and codes and laws and regulations. And they give you endless caging of peaceful people for engaging in voluntary commerce. Millions of people in cages. They give you, we talk about caging people as an abstract thing. Every single year, millions of years of life are destroyed for selling plants or, selling sex and all sorts of other stuff. Victimless crimes that didn't actually hurt anyone. They're just things that politicians wrote on a sheet of paper that you shouldn't be allowed to do unless you get special permission from them and give them a piece of it. And that's one of the punchlines of their joke of the lies that they tell you. And what else? All of the terrible, you just run through all the reasons that you're either a libertarian or for whatever reason you don't vote Republican or Democrat. And they lie, and they lie, and they lie, and they lie, and they lie. And they treat the system like a joke because if there's any other third party or independent people who want to actually try to tell you the truth, they use ballot access laws and all sorts of other things, other infringements to make it nearly impossible for them to get on the stage, much less actually even be able to win an election. So they've treated the whole thing like a joke. So we're going to treat them like a joke. And so we're going to now vote for a guy. If we're going to have a bunch of clowns, if all we have to vote for is a bunch of clowns, we want the clown with the boot on his head. If we're going to only be given a choice to vote for people who give us empty promises, then we're going to vote for the one who promises, ponies and cheesy bread and badgers and guns on your ponies and cheesy bread on your badgers and killing baby Hitler and a bunch of other stuff that we're totally going to do once we get elected. And once you've done that, once you've made that vote and brought in tons of people, and even before the election, brought in tons of people to libertarianism, saying this is our way of thumbing our nose to the whole thing, people that would no sooner vote Republican or Democrat, but definitely don't want to vote for a warmed-over Republican or Democrat calling themselves a libertarian, here is someone, and may not be interested in hearing someone who is a principled libertarian, who is giving principled libertarian talking points, but because, almost in spite of the fact that they are polished and serious and seem serious, say, no, they just sound like another politician lying to you. But we bring them in with a message of, hey, everyone, we're going to give you free ponies. And then if they dig a little deeper, they actually hear. Because Vermin takes his boot off all the time. I'm right now not talking about ponies or anything else. We're talking about serious stuff. And after getting them in with that message, after getting free earned media with a message that is so absurd that they have to cover it, so they can say, hey, look at this big joke. And then we go in, we take the clown nose off for a second, say something serious, and get them in with that. That is more powerful than anything anyone else can do. And however we do in the election, whether we win the general election, if we get nominated, or if we don't win the general election, we will have brought in more people to libertarianism than anyone else could have because of the satirical and funny and playful nature of how we're doing this. Not despite it, but because of it. And now that you have many, many people who have bought into this, now you can say, if we don't get elected in the general election, now you can say, okay, now that we have your attention, we're going to talk to you about the next candidate that we have. And if we and I'm sure Vermin will be there supporting them along the way as well, assuming again that we don't get elected, which we will. That's our message, and I think that it's a compelling message. I think it's the best message that's out there. It's why I got onto the campaign. It's why I'm running as vice president, because I think this man... Oh, and another thing. We talk about youth engagement. Vermin Supreme has roughly 80% of the mentions. He has nearly 5 million mentions on TikTok, and he has Twitter follower numbers and Facebook follower numbers that are comparable to some of the Democratic Party candidates and way higher than any of the Republicans running except for Trump. Way higher than any other libertarian running or even thinking of running. We talk about Lincoln Chafee, who's always got name recognition. Nothing even close to Vermin. So Vermin's actually the pragmatic choice. If your whole thing is, well, we need name recognition, well, that's Vermin. Easily. Not even close. No one can dispute that he has, in some cases, several orders of magnitude higher, exponentially higher numbers of followers. And he has an I mean, we jokingly call it Vermin's child army. He has this huge number of young followers, anything from as young as 10 to as old as 25 and 30, youthful followers. And not all of them are going to be eligible to vote, although some of them will be by next year. Not all of them are eligible, but some of them will be. But by the next cycle, a lot of them will be. All those 12 and 13-year-olds, they'll be old enough to vote by 2024. And they will have been following Vermin. Not Chafee, and I love a lot of these other candidates, but not these other candidates. Because right now they don't want to hear that. They want to see this fun guy do this cool, funny stuff. They don't even want to hear from the Democrats or the Republicans. I mean, on TikTok, Vermin is almost as popular as Bernie Sanders. On TikTok. Who else is anywhere near Bernie Sanders in the Libertarian camp? The rest of them combined aren't. And again, these are people I love. You're not going to hear me speaking bad about them. This is a sheer numbers thing when it comes to just levels of reach and popularity that Vermin has with his persona and his message. And if we can yellow pill them or libertarian pill them into the movement as kids, so that by the time they're ready they're old enough to vote, they've already been volunteering, they've already been helping, they've already been talking their parents' ear off as to why they should be voting libertarian. In my mind, it's a no-brainer, and it feeds into a narrative, a political theater narrative of they lied to you, they treated you like a joke, let's treat them like a joke by voting for the funniest clown in the bunch, and now you're going to take us seriously. Us being those voters, those disenfranchised voters, the something like 50 or 60% of eligible voters that do not vote, and us, the libertarians, the Libertarian Party. That's my message. So, what else do we got here? Supreme Spike 2020 sounds like a porno movie. Is that intentional or coincidental? Well, let me ask you that. Does this look like porn? Actually, you know what? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Jacob is over in Float just losing it. Loving my playable strategy as he calls it. Let's see. Chris Reynolds, politicians lie. Spike is a politician. So listen, I have your face somewhere. Okay? I would never lie to you. I would never lie to you. Not about something like arming your pony that I just gave you for free. Okay? So let's not do that. Let's not do that. Fotini Henderson says, and your nips. Yeah. Yeah. Fotini Henderson also says, what are you lying about? I'm not. That's my point. I'd never lie to you. That's my point. So guys, if you're just tuning in, again, a great way to help the homeless and the Vermin Supreme campaign. We're giving away, we have a ton of these signed toothbrushes that we're giving away to the homeless. If you donate, let me put up the link. If you donate $10 to paypal.me/Spike Cohen, we will put your name on this toothbrush, courtesy of, or a message, or really we'll put whatever you want there. And when we give it away to the homeless person, and of that $10 donation, $5 will go towards the Vermin Supreme campaign, the Supreme Spike 2020 campaign, I'm sorry. And then the other half will go towards Dignity Ministry, which helps the homeless in the local Myrtle Beach area of South Carolina. And if you give $20 or more, I will sign this along with Vermin, who already signed it, and mail it to you, so that you will have this to preserve, to show to your loved ones and your closest friends and your children and their children, something you can bequeath down. This will be your property, your inviolable property, your toothbrush that no one can take from you, because you have a right to your toothbrush that you got for free with a donation of $20 or more. And of that $20 or more donation, after the cost of shipping it to you, half of it will be sent to the Supreme Spike 2020 campaign. The other half, of course, sent to Dignity Ministry to help the homeless in the local Myrtle Beach area. So I think that was all of the questions that I have. So guys, if you have any other questions, you have any requests, you want me to come on your podcast, or you want to call me to ask any questions, if you're a delegate or thinking of becoming a delegate. Another big thing, if you want to become a delegate in your state, because here's the thing, we don't have a primary. The Libertarian Party does not have a primary. The way that we pick our candidate, our nominee for president and vice president, is that each state elects delegates, and then those delegates go to Austin on May 20th, right? May 20th? Or hold on. They go to Austin, Texas, May 21st through 25th of next year, and 1,046 total delegates will select who the nominee is. And so if you want to help us and find out how you can become a delegate in your state, be sure to reach out to us at Vermin Supreme 2020 or reach out to me directly. And if you are a delegate or thinking about becoming a delegate and you're on the fence about who to support, feel free to reach out to me and or Vermin. And we'll answer whatever questions and concerns you have. And if you'd like to come on and become a part of the team, verminsupreme2020.com, or reach out to me. Oh, or go to spike2020.com to see my Libertarian Vice Presidential website. It's a real fun thing that got made for me. So that is my message for you today, friends. Final thoughts by me. Usually we have a final thoughts part, but I guess these were all my final thoughts because I'm me. I was already giving my thoughts. But yeah, be sure to reach out if you have any questions. Serotonin says, well, I'm going to write you guys in if you don't get the nomination, but you will. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. I've had a lot of people reaching out saying that they're gonna support us regardless. So I appreciate that. Chris Reynolds says, is that a gerbil? This is a badger. This is oh, you mean behind Vermin? That's me. That's a Jew. And then behind me is the badger. It's a multi-layered image there. So guys, thanks for tuning in to this very first vice presidential edition of My Fellow Americans. Not sure if we're going to have a Christmas episode. We might. I'd like to, but I'm not sure. We may have company. So I'm not sure if we're going to have a vice presidential episode. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a New Year's Day episode. So this could very well be the last episode of My Fellow Americans of this decade. So it's a big deal. This could be the very last time I am signing out of My Fellow Americans for the decade. So it's a pretty big deal. We may also not have a Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve episode of the Muddied Waters of Freedom. Again, we're not sure. Pretty sure we won't be doing anything New Year's Eve. Not sure about Christmas Eve. So this may be the first time or the last time for this year and this decade that Muddy Waters Media will have any programming for you. So, but we will see. We will definitely keep you in the loop on that. If we don't hear from you, if you don't hear from us between now and then, have a happy Hanukkah, a happy Kwanzaa, a Merry Christmas. I don't think there's any Muslim holidays during this time, but have a great time as a Muslim at the end of December. The Zoroastrians, I don't know, whatever you got, just have a great time with loved ones and with yourself for the rest of this year and decade, and have a happy New Year and a happy New Year's Eve and a happy New Year's Day. And Libertarian Dad Bod, $12 shipped. Be sure to get that at libertariandadbod.com to get the Libertarian Dad Bod calendar. Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus. Be sure to join that. It's facebook.com/groups/LPWHC, or just look up Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus on Facebook And be sure to join that to be a part of our growing Liberty Waffle family. Supreme Spike 2020. VerminSupreme2020.com. This is real. For those who have asked me, no, I am not kidding. Yes, we're really doing this. I'll see you at your state's convention. I love you very much. Thank you for being a part of this show. Talk to you soon. And God bless you.
They say about an eye for an eye in a time when the blind lead the blind. Who am I to deny I would cry when a loved one dies? I recognize that body outside with the holes in the body that was alive. Now confined to a chalk outline. Find out how, but you never know why. It ain't even make it to the news at 9. It ain't even make it to the news at 9. That's my sister, mother, father, brother, son. That's one of mine. All these years I close my eyes, open up to only find I'm in line. There's a